If members and members of the public can start settling in, I'd like to go ahead and get this meeting called. So 15 seconds or so, 10 seconds. All right, we don't even need that. Cool, thanks. We're going to go. Good morning. I'd like to call this voting meeting of the House Education Committee to order. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed for the public. There are no members participating virtually that I see, but if anybody is, because I don't have my glasses on, please mute your microphones. For members attending in person, please silence all electronic devices. We will now take attendance. Tom, if you will be so kind.
Chairman Schweier.
Here.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi.
Designation.
Representative Curry.
Designation.
Representative Friel. Here. Representative Isaacson. Here. Representative Kazim.
Designation.
Representative Nelson.
Designation.
Representative Probst. Here. Representative Prokopiak. Here. Representative Razi.
Designation.
Representative Smith-Waddell.
Designation.
Representative Takak. Here. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
Here.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi.
Here.
Representative Gleim.
Here.
Representative McKenzie.
Here.
Representative McCurry.
Designation.
Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba.
Designation.
Representative Stats.
Here.
Representative Watro. Quorum is present.
Thank you. Before we move forward on the first bill, I'd like to introduce Representative McKenzie and give the floor to her for purpose of introduction.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to introduce a student from my district who's visiting Harrisburg today. Harrison Visick from Moravian Academy is here. He's a senior and an outstanding student of the 131st District. Welcome, Harrison.
Thank you very much once again for anybody, if anybody hasn't figured it out, the Lehigh Valley is in fact taking over everything. So welcome, and let the record reflect that Chair Nelson has joined us. Our first bill we are going to consider today is House Bill 2180, sponsored by Representative Kincaid. Is there a motion to bring it up? Representative Young, thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Representative Takak. Aaron, will you be so kind as to explain the bill?
This is House Bill 2180, printers number 3361 by Representative Kincaid. This bill amends the Public School Code, creates the School Meal Debt Fund within PDE to assist public schools with discharging debt accumulated through the operation of a school food service program. It appropriates $80 million from the general fund to the department to provide payments to public schools participating in National School Breakfast Program and the National School Lunch Program in an amount necessary to reimburse the cost of discharging outstanding school meal debt. It also makes revisions to the nonprofit school food program regarding prohibitions against lunch shaming at school entities.
Thank you. And let the record reflect that we are joined by Representative Cerisi. With that, Representative Kincaid, would you like to talk about your bill at all, ma'am?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I think everybody here knows, I've been working a lot in my time in office on addressing hunger issues, and this is a small step towards addressing childhood hunger. During the pandemic, because we were able to provide universal school meals, we took a major chunk out of childhood hunger. We almost solved it because we fully funded and invested in programs that addressed food insecurity. With the rollback of those pandemic programs, we are seeing food insecurity across the nation and across our Commonwealth skyrocket. And food insecurity is more severe now than it was during the pandemic. This is a small way to address that issue. What this bill fundamentally does is allows every child in school to get a meal without being shamed for it, without being denied a meal or being given a separate meal like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead of a hot meal. It helps kids eat because the reality is that you don't control what family you're born into or whether or not they can pay the bills or pay for your school meal. Pennsylvania has had some issues with lunch shaming, and so the provisions in here to prevent school districts from taking punitive actions for lunch debt are really important. We had a school district in Pennsylvania that sent letters to parents saying that if they did not pay off their school lunch debt, that they would contact CYF and put their children in foster care. That shouldn't happen. And that school district had $22,000 in school lunch debt. The highest individual debt was $450. $450 to send a child to foster care seems extreme and punitive and shouldn't happen. There was a kid who was suspended for theft because he ate a meal that he could not afford. That shouldn't happen. That's not that kid's fault. We should not be taking punitive actions against children, against families that are struggling, when there are ways that we can support them and help them, and that is what this bill does. And so I would ask you all for an affirmative vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Are there any questions or comments on the bill? Representative Young? And then Chair Topper.
Sure, thank you. Rep. Kincaid, thank you for offering this piece of legislation. It's very important, especially as we understand the importance of the man's law hierarchy of needs. Food security is a part of that. I think it should be a right of all those of us who are people who are currently serving people. And if we are really trying to represent the voice of our constituents, it should not be determined based on their economic stature. It should not be based on the families that they come from. It should just simply be around making sure that we are addressing the needs. We have the money, we have the funds. We should also have the good governing common sense to understand that let's address the needs as we are able to, and the basic fundamentals of feeding should be a priority, not only for this committee, but for the entire Commonwealth. So thank you again for offering this legislation.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative Gleim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question on the legislation, page 4, line 20, where it says, including serving a student an alternative meal or requiring a student to wear a wristband, hand stamp, or other article identifying the student as having a school meal debt. I'm not so sure that doing that is such a good idea under this bill. I don't agree with that could cause some stigma for the students. So I'm wondering, first of all, what is an alternative meal, and is there a way that that can be eliminated from the bill?
Sorry. That's actually, it prohibits that. Actually, that's the piece of the lunch debt shaming that we are prohibiting, because right now school districts are doing those things. They're giving them, peanut butter jelly sandwiches instead of a full lunch, hot lunch. They're some students are, hand stamped, or they have wristbands, or, they've had papers stapled to their T-shirts to go home and say you have school lunch debt and need to pay it. And that's what when we're talking about prohibiting school lunch debt shaming, we're talking about prohibiting those things. So we're not including that to say they're allowed to do it. We're including it saying you're not allowed to do it.
Okay, so just to follow up, how are you going to identify the students then? I mean, I'm not for that. I'm just saying that's good that that's prohibiting that, but then how are you going to identify the students that need the that need the meal?
So what all of those things have been used for is to send a message home to the parent to say you have school lunch debt. There are phones that schools can use to contact parents to say there's debt. They have the records. Like, this isn't something that that they don't have knowledge of who has debt. They have it. This is just saying that you cannot use the child as the means of message to the parents to say you have outstanding school debt or school lunch debt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other questions, comments? Chair Topper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate Lady from Allegheny, her passion on this issue. And we have certainly seen, both at the federal level and the state level, moves to address the idea that it is very difficult for students to learn, if not impossible, if their basic needs are not met. Then there does come to the question that we all wrestle with on a daily basis in this job, which is, and which of those needs fall to the role of the government. So I appreciate her passion on the issue. I appreciate the work that has been done in this space. I believe this extends the arm of government into an area that I know I myself am not comfortable with, because at the end of the day, the meals do cost something, and someone must pay the bill. And so finding that balance is a difficult one. I acknowledge that, but I believe in this case and in this time, as we look at the funding and the budgets that are coming, I will be a no, and I would ask my members to be a no as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If I may, Representative Kincaid, thank you for bringing this forward. This has been something that you have championed for quite some time, whether you had your original bill to provide for universal free lunch way back when. In fact, I think for our members' knowledge, and particularly the newer members of the committee, the very first hearing that we had as the House Education Committee was a joint hearing with children and youth on hunger and school-based nutrition. It led to us being able to it led us to be able to pass universal free breakfast in last year's budget. And whereas I personally believe that we should get to a point where we have universal free lunches as well, I believe this is another step towards that as we incrementally try to address the issues of hunger shaming, but also the issues of just making sure our kids have what they need to be able to learn and thrive. So for those reasons, I'm going to ask for an affirmative vote. Seeing no other questions or comments, Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry. Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Representative Nelson. Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi.
Yes by designation.
Representative Smith-Waddell. Representative Takak. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
No.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie.
Yes.
Representative Mercuri.
No by designation.
Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba.
No by designation.
Representative Stats. Representative Watro. The yeas are 15, the nays are 10.
Thank you very much. House Bill 2180 is reported from the House Education Committee. Thank you, ma'am. Also, for the record, as you heard in the last roll call, both Representatives Curry and Smith-Waddell have joined us as well, are no longer on designation, and appreciate that. And moving forward, I'd like to consider House Bill 1168, sponsored by Representative Briggs. Is there a motion to bring it up? Representative Friel, thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Cerisi. Aaron, would you be kind enough to explain House Bill 1168?
Yes, this is House Bill 1168, printers number 1233 by Chair Briggs. This bill this bill amends the public school code in the state system of higher education, changing the composition of the Board of Governors by reducing the number of trustees from constituent institutions from 5 to 3, and adding 1 board member from the state system bargaining unit of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and adding 1 board member from the state system bargaining unit of the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculties.
Thank you, ma'am. Chair Briggs, as the maker of this legislation, would you like to offer a few comments?
Great. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for adding this to your agenda today. As the House Democratic appointee to PASHE, we spend a lot of time making decisions based on what we think is the best for the students and for the taxpayers of Pennsylvania and employees. We talk about the family, of the PASHE family. And a number of years ago, the chair, Cindy Shapiro, took a really great step to add a non-voting faculty liaison to the committee. She also created a commission, Commission on Faculty Shared Governance, that has had a number of members of the board, faculty members, members of the community. The way the board is currently made up is each of the 4 caucuses gets an appointee, the governor gets 2 appointees, the local trustees, the local colleges get 5, and the governor gets 6 community appointees. There's also 3 members that are students. So what is missing in that equation when we talk about the Pesci family is the employees. And one of the recommendations from the commission was to advocate for a statutory change to allow faculty representation. That was back in 2020, and a lot has happened in 2020, since 2020. So at the beginning of this session, I introduced a bill to make that statutory change for a faculty member or retiree, as also the other employees represented by AFSCME. So to reduce the trustee complement that are currently 5 to 3, and to have 1 additional faculty and 1 additionally employee, to be able to, when we make these decisions, truly reflect in both conversation and in voting power the Pesci family. So that is a simple approach, and I encourage all the members to support it. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions or comments on House Bill 1168? Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Chairman Briggs, and for his work on behalf of the board and also Westchester. This bill was just brought before us this morning. I would like to do some more digging myself and some research and vetting, and I've just not had time to do that, so I'll be asking our members for a no vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And conversely, if I may, I'd like to thank you again, Chairman Briggs, for your service on Pesci. This has been something that you've talked about for quite some time. This is something that's been out there, and I'm going to ask for an affirmative vote. With that, Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representative Abney, Representative Cerisi, Representative Curry, Representative Friel, Representative Isaacson, Representative Kazim,
Yes by designation?
Representative Nelson, Representative Probst, Representative Prokopiak, Representative Razi,
Yes by designation?
Representative Smith-Waddell, Representative Takak, Representative Young, Chairman Topper,
No.
Representative Cooper, Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative McCurry,
No by designation.
Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba,
No by designation.
Representative Stats, Representative Wattrow. The yeas are 14, the nays are 11.
Thank you, Tom. House Bill 1168 is reported from the House Education Committee, and we're going to move on to.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. We're going to move on to House Bill 2398, which I'm the prime sponsor of, and I'm going to make a motion to bring it up. Is there a second? Thank you, Representative Isaacson. There is going to be an amendment, but Aaron, I'm going to ask you to explain the bill prior to the amendment.
This is House Bill 2398, printers number 3271 by Chair Schweier. This bill amends the Public School Code to establish a 15-member State Board of Higher Education to increase coordination between higher education institutions in order to increase accessibility, fill critical work gaps, and train students for the jobs Pennsylvania needs while maintaining local control. Investing in publicly funded colleges and universities to help them reach their full potential via a predictable, transparent funding formula that will align state dollars with the needs of the Commonwealth, and making college more affordable by ensuring that Pennsylvanians making up to the median income pay no more than $1,000 in tuition and fees per semester at state-owned universities and community colleges. It also increases the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency state grants by $1,000 for students from families that make up to the median income.
Thank you. And we're going to have one amendment, A 5195, offered by Representative Isaacson, And I will second that amendment, and we can have an overview of that, Aaron, and then we'll talk about the amendment.
Yes, this is Amendment 05195 being offered by Representative Isaacson. This amendment changes the composition of the State Board of Higher Education by adding 2 additional members, 1 additional representative of a union representing employees at a public institution of higher ed, and 1 representative from a career and technical education program. Further, it provides for articulation and transfer of college credits by adding provisions to guarantee admission of an undergraduate student transferring between public institutions of higher education. It also establishes the dual credit innovation and equity grant program where the Department of Education would award grants to public institutions of higher education that offer dual credit opportunities to high school students. And finally, the amendment would establish the Student Fee Transparency Act, which will require institutions of higher ed to publish a description of each mandatory fee they charge on their websites and online student portal.
Thank you, and I'd like to recognize the maker of the amendment, Representative Isaacson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for championing this issue that we've had here in Pennsylvania about making education accessible, affordable, and higher education here in Pennsylvania. And we know that as we're going through this budget process, that there needs to be some issues worked out in the underlying bill, but I look forward to moving this forward so that we can continue this process. But I also appreciate the opportunity to offer this amendment to this bill so we could start the process of shaping this bill into what we can all be proud of for higher education and making sure the democratic priorities that we have for higher education are included in it. But making sure that we have proper representation on any board that exists, that we're making sure that dual enrollment is accessible to students here in the Commonwealth so that they can get the heads up. We all know that providing dual enrollment programs provides opportunities to college-level courses and can continue the post-secondary studies while saving money for students, again, making sure we have affordability for higher education. And certainly the articulation aspect of this bill also contributes to that, making sure that the transfers between our community colleges and our system of higher education does not cost any further money and makes it easier, accessible, and to address equity in education and economic opportunities. And finally, I'm very happy our priorities also include making sure that higher education institutions have to disclose their mandatory fees and the purposes of those fees so that a student, when they are going for their higher education, knows the true cost of what their college is going to be. So I would hope that people would, this committee would support these efforts to make college more affordable and accessible to our students here in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are joined by Representative McCurry, who will no longer be voting by designation. Good to see you, sir. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Chair Topper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the work on all of this, all of the higher ed work that is going on. This is a conversation that I think has been very productive over the past couple months. We all recognize and have the strong desire to make higher education more accessible and affordable, and higher education meaning a lot of different things, from programs that allow for certifications to 2-year degrees to 4-year degrees. And we know that it is a somewhat complicated process because a lot of these institutions are not government entities, and yet we see that the return on investment to Pennsylvania has the opportunity to really help not just the state economically, but families kind of raise themselves up and stay here in Pennsylvania. So all of these are options that are on the table. There are a few concerns that I have with the language in the amendment, and particularly how they would affect all of our institutions. I think it continues to need work, and we will continue to see work over the next couple of weeks. For now, I'll be no on the amendment, but I appreciate all of these issues being brought forward, and I know that the work will continue in the weeks ahead. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. The work never ends.
Weeks
Chair-
ahead,
Chair
days ahead,
Nelson.
whatever it looks like.
I have so many jokes. we're only one half the equation, sir. Lest we forget. That is the nicest joke I'll make right now. With that, very quickly, and I do appreciate Chair Topper's comments. I echo his sentiment that all parties have been working in good faith on all of the aspects on higher education. And the comments I'm going to make now are reflective of the bill on final and, final in the committee and the next bill that we're going to consider, Senate Bill 1150. So I'm just going to say this once and just everyone know that it applies to all of the above. The amendment reflects a couple of things. Some work that we've done on trying to get the potential state system of higher education, State Board of Higher Education. I'm sorry, relax, State Board of Higher Education, to a somewhat better place to make sure all voices are recommended. The underlying bill, of course, has organizations that haven't been historically brought to the table, our historically black colleges as for example, and we're trying our very best to make sure everybody has a seat at the table. That's number one. Number two, the three individual components that we heard from are all bills that this committee has already considered, and in some cases, I think most cases, I could be wrong about one, there was at least some level of bipartisan support on them. I don't want to speak, I could be wrong, but I know that they all passed out of this committee, and two of the three have actually passed off the floor of the House already and are over in the Senate. So the topics that we're talking about have been priorities of this committee for some time, and I appreciate the good work of Representative Isaacson in bringing that to the table. Even with this amendment, House Bill 2398 is not a finished product. It's nowhere near a finished product. We're not going to pretend that it's a finished product. And frankly, now there's Senate Bill 1150. We are trying our very best to put everything in a position that if we are able to come to a comprehensive deal on education, on higher education, that we can move it quickly, because ultimately our goal is to make it as inexpensive for people as possible to pursue their higher education goals. Our goal is to try to reduce costs within our institutions of higher education in a manner that protects those institutions and do so in a way that prepares folks for jobs that are available in their communities today. That is what the governor had talked about during his budget address. It is the same sentiment that, I don't want to speak for my friends on the other side of the aisle, but I've heard those same sentiments talked about by members both in the House and Senate, Democrats and Republicans. And so whereas we know we're not at a final deal yet, we're not going to pretend to be. We know everybody is working in good faith. All five parties are working in good faith. And something that I'm not particularly good at, I'm actually cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to get to a deal that will ultimately reduce costs for students and make the entire system a little bit stronger than it is today. And so I'm going to ask for a yes vote on the amendment. And with that, those will be my last comments on any of the higher ed bills. Mr. Leclerc, will you please call the roll on the amendment?
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry. Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes by designation.
Representative Nelson. Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi.
Yes by designation.
Representative Smith-Waddell. Representative Takak. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
No.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative McCurry. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba.
No by designation.
Representative Stats. Representative Watrow. The yeas are 15, the nays are 10.
Thank you, sir. The amendment is adopted. Now we'll move on to comments on the bill as amended. Representative Young.
I just wanted to just lend voice to this particular topic simply because, to me, I understand it as an opportunity for us to really put ourselves in a position where we are equipping our students with the tools that they need to be worldwide ready to sit at any table on any continent and have as many resources afforded to them in their higher institutions. And so I actually think that it's a great opportunity for us to show why we are here. We are legislators and we're governing officials, but we're supposed to be here with the purpose, and we are supposed to be here to lend voice and support to those students who can benefit from our help, not only as a Commonwealth, but for the interns here who are actually attending colleges right now. And so when you see the faces of the people that we're speaking up for, it makes a difference. When we have them in a room, it makes a difference. When we recognize it's not just legislation on paper and people talking, there are actually lives that are impacted by the decisions we make starting right here in this committee. So I'm grateful for them to see the ways in which they can be motivated to ensure that their voices are heard throughout any continent in this world, starting right here in this committee. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any other questions or comments on the bill as amended? Representative McCurry? Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier.
Yes.
Representative Abney. Representative Cerisi. Representative Curry. Representative Friel. Representative Isaacson. Representative Kazim.
Yes by designation?
Representative Nelson. Representative Probst. Representative Prokopiak. Representative Razi.
Yes by designation?
Representative Smith-Waddell. Representative Takak. Representative Young. Chairman Topper.
No.
Representative Cooper. Representative Diorsi. Representative Gleim. Representative McKenzie. Representative McCurry. Representative Ortitai. Representative Schlegel. Representative Shalaba.
No by designation?
Representative Stats. Representative Wattrow. The yeas are 14, the nays are 11.
Thank you, sir. House Bill 2398, as amended, is reported from the House Education Committee. We are going to move forward to consider Senate Bill 1150, sponsored by Senator Martin. Is there a motion? Chair Topper, thank you. Is there a second? Representative McCurry, thank you. Aaron, will you please explain Senate Bill 1150?
This is Senate Bill 1150, printers number 1711 by Senator Martin. This bill amends the Public School Code, establishing the Grow Pennsylvania Scholarship Grant Program within FIA, which would offer grants of up to $5,000 per year for up to 4 years for in-state students who attend college in Pennsylvania, pursue a degree in a high-demand industry, and agree to live and work in that industry in Pennsylvania after graduation.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any comments or questions on Senate Bill 1150? Chair Topper?
Just to echo some of the comments by Chairman Schweier, this is, once again, another vehicle. We understand that this is not the final product in terms of higher education, but I do appreciate the fact that the chairman has recognized the Grow PA package as well as the administration. And I think all of the above deserve credit for having this conversation, for recognizing that there are ideas flowing in every different direction, but that we're trying to get to a product that really emphasizes something that I think it's important for us to remember when it comes to how we fund higher education, particularly how we look at the students that we want to not just go to our schools here, but stay in Pennsylvania, reside here, work here. We want a return on investment for our investments into higher education because we believe that is truly what will change the demographics in this Commonwealth. We continue to lose population. Our demographic age, while we all certainly love and desire to protect our senior citizens, we know that is the largest growing demographic in Pennsylvania. As my friend, the former Appropriations Chairman, Billy Adolph used to say, that population is growing in 2 states, Florida and Pennsylvania, and they ain't coming here because of the weather. So we need to make sure that we also have demographics that are expanding for our young working families, that they have the opportunity to have those jobs here to strengthen our economy, both at the community level and at the statewide level. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate the work done by our colleagues over in the Senate and the administration, and look forward to continuing over the days ahead to put forth something that is a finished product. In the meantime, I will be asking my members to vote yes on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And closing this out, Representative Takak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I echo minority chairman's comments about, higher education being the right investment at this time and being concerned about ROI, but I have concerns. While this bill has great intentions and the sentiment, I believe, is right, it's very problematic in my mind, just in terms of how to implement this, particularly for undergraduates who may want to switch majors, or, I think it unnecessarily constrains fields of study. So while I remain hopeful that we'll be able to get to something, this seems pretty problematic to me in its current format. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And with that, Tom, will you please call the roll?
Chairman Schweier,
Yes.
Representative Abney, Representative Cerisi, Representative Curry, Representative Friel, Representative Isaacson, Representative Kazim,
Yes, by designation.
Representative Nelson, Representative Probst, Representative Prokopiak, Representative Razi,
Yes, by designation.
Representative Smith-Waddell, Representative Takak, Representative Young, Chairman Topper,
Yes.
Representative Cooper, Representative Diorsi, Representative Gleim, Representative McKenzie, Representative McCurry, Representative Ortitai, Representative Schlegel, Representative Shalaba,
Yes by designation.
Representative Stats, Representative Wattrow. The yeas are 25, the nays are 0.
Thank you, sir. Senate Bill 1150 is reported from the House Education Committee. Representative Young, I know you have some folks you would like to introduce very quickly.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I do have some of my district office team members here, and 2 are our college student. I do have, thank you for coming. I want you to stand up and just say hi to people. I don't want to call everybody out, and everybody's that comfortable. But thank you for coming from Philadelphia and Delaware counties from Team 185. Everybody say hi to my staff and you walk out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further business before the committee, this voting meeting is adjourned. Thank you.